Hi there, Dave Markham. Topic 10 on Lenten Reflections. And this is from John chapter 8, verses 21 through 30. And it's a wonderful story, except that John's account of what Jesus says to his disciples seems like he's talking in riddles. So it's kind of hard to understand unless once again, you are aware that Jesus is talking about a metaphysical psychology here. He's not talking literally. So if you want to take him literally, you're going to get confused. If, on the other hand, you take him metaphysically, you can understand perfectly well what he's talking about. So Jesus is telling him that he's going to be going away and that they will be searching for him. And they immediately think that he's despondent and going to kill himself. They think he's talking about his physical body. And Jesus goes on and says, "No, listen, you don't get this." And they say to him, "Who are you?" And he says, "Well, I'm above and you're below." And what he means by that is he's walking the path of the spirit, and they're still walking the path of the ego. They believe in the individual self and their separateness, where Jesus is enlightened. He believes that he's one with God. So the Father knows him, he knows the Father, and whether the disciples know it or not, they're part of the onenesses too, but they have forgotten. So Jesus is here to remind them, listen, we're all part of the oneness of God with God. And if you just give up your individual ego, you'd become enlightened and you would understand that too. But they don't get it. They just don't see it. And although at the end of the story, and John doesn't tell us how this came about, but it says that they came to believe him. Now, what they came to believe is not clear, and the story ends there, so we really don't know. Were they willing to give up their egos and join in the oneness? It's hard for me to believe that it happened that fast, but you never know. In this day and age, I think we have the same difficulty that the disciples back then did. We don't understand that Jesus is talking about the path of the spirit, not the path of the ego. And the thought that we would have to give up our ego in order to embark on the path of the spirit fills us with fear and terror. We don't want to give up our ego, our sense of individual sense, a self, and join in the oneness of God. And yet, if we could rise above our ego, our sense of individual self, which some of us do some of the time, we could get on the path of the spirit and actually experience the peace and bliss that Jesus is telling us is possible if we only believed. So that's a great message for Lent, huh? In Lent, we give stuff up, and what we're supposed to give up is all the things that go along with the path of the ego. You know, the idols that we create: money, power, prestige, status, sex, all that stuff. It's never going to make you happy, right? So at some point, you got to recognize that and say, well, listen, there's got to be a better way. And so we become aware of the fact that we have the power of choice. We can either choose to spend the rest of our lives on the path of the ego, or we can choose to embark on the path of the spirit, which is unconditional love. And it's a wonderful story when you get it. So I hope this is helpful to you. And till next time, be well, stay well. Bye.